let's hit the fan, we're overrun. Sending boys in the trucks with the 50 cals. Tell every swinging neck, bringing extra rounds. Hang in now, boys, we're on our way. Don't send them all to heaven before we get a taste. Whoa, cry havoc, let's slip the doors away. What you gonna do? And happy Sunday to you folks. Welcome back to a special edition of the Double S Podcast. How the heck are you? It could be a Sunday. It could be a Thursday. Who knows what night we're airing this one on? This is a special edition, so we're just going to be at our discretion. We're going to throw this in the mix up here on the Heroes Media Group Network. Hey, man, if you're wondering who it was that did that badass intro song and you weren't paying attention, that's Sal Gonzalez. Check him out. He's not only one of our Stop 22 artists, he's also been signed. He's one of the anchor artists that was signed by the Label 22 effort that we have out there. This is a United States Marine Corps vet. He's been on America's Got Talent. He's been on the Grand Ole Opry a couple times. Sal is the man. We love him. He just released one of his albums out there. You can go get that now on your favorite platform. Go download that. Go support. Sal has got one of those unique voices, dude. When you listen to Sal's music, you'll know it's him. So you're welcome. If you're hearing this before Christmas, Merry Christmas early, because that's the tip of the day for you right there. Go get some of Sal's music. Hey, before we get going too much further, tonight's episode is awesome. All right, been trying and waiting for this one for a long, long time. We got the man. He's a busy dude. And so we got him. He's on the show with us, Mr. Joe Winston of Heroes on the Water. If you follow us, you know I too am a part of Heroes on the Water proudly. This is one of the, quite frankly, is the leading organization in the recreational therapeutic sport area. The whole nonprofit work. Without Heroes on the Water, dude, we don't get anywhere, right? They have led the industry with information, with studies, putting medical information behind this. And then, of course, just an amazing network of volunteers backed by a fantastic organization at its roots. So excited to bring in Mr. Joe here to chat it up. We're going to talk about the therapeutic side. We'll get into all that good stuff. Before we do, you know the routine. Let's pay the bills. Every episode of the Double S Podcast brought to you by the Romans Warrior Foundation. Hashtag helping is healing. Alternative methods for healing. Got our little field ops division, of course, that's out there. We've got the Stop 22 tour. Basically, that's music by vets for vets. Doing the work out there. And of course, the big one, the Global War on Terror's Wall of Remembrance. At GWAT Wall. You can follow along. That is a mobile monument, your mobile monument, that is dedicated to the entire GWAT era. That's 1983 forward. If you want to take your local community event that you have planned, be it 4th of July, be it any type of local community event, you want to take it to the next level and bring healing to the community, get a hold of Romans Warrior Foundation, get that mobile monument in there. Of course, True Patriot Outfitters, doing what we do. And none of this possible without the Heroes Media Group, Adam Bird, all the great podcasts that are over there. Fantastic organization. And the sister company, HMG Beverage, gets you some coffee from HMG Beverage. Kickstart. You know it. I say it all the time. That's my favorite. All right. Bills are paid. Before we bring him in, anything special going on? It's Christmas season, y'all. Guaranteed this will show before Christmas, and it's Christmas season. And I am extremely excited. Keep it how you want to keep it. But whatever you do, keep it. Okay, it isn't that, don't go the commercial side, right? Set your mind free on that. Maybe take a step back a little bit and understand a little bit about that Christmas spirit. Whether you're spending that alone or whether you're spending it with family, with friends. I highly encourage you, don't spend it alone if you can avoid it. Definitely reach out. To your friends, to your family, spend a little bit of time there and just be thankful, take a little bit of time of reflection. And of course, like I said, keep it how you want to keep it, but for sure, don't run away from it. That doesn't do you any good whatsoever. Let it get in there and warm the heart a little bit during that Christmas time. And matter of fact, if you're having a hard time with that, you know the routine, man. Hit me up. You can't help but get in the Christmas spirit around me, dude. If I got to wear jingle bells and I got to put a Santa hat on to get you in the mood, that's what I'm going to do. But either way, all seriousness aside, you know where to reach us. Reach out. Love to chat with you. If the season's a little bit rough, you know we're here. Any of us on the Heroes Media Group, we're all in it to win it. All right, enough said. We got the man sitting in the green room, patiently looking good today. Filters in effect, so he looks real good. And now he's laughing. Let's go ahead and bring him into the show right now, Mr. Joe Winston of Heroes on the Water. What's happening, brother Joe?
Hey, Gene. What's happening, man? So glad to be here. Long time coming. Glad to connect.
Yeah, dude. It's been busy. It's a crazy time of year. You are constantly on the move, and coming to us from down south, Beaumont, Texas. I got to tell you, when I got off the phone with you the other day, I went to Realtor.com and started poking around.
Well, you'd be welcome down here on the muddy Gulf Coast, but you live in a really beautiful part of the world too. So
it is. It's just ridiculously expensive. But I gotta say this: y'all's property taxes down there scare the living. I mean, it's like what we pay up here.
Well, we're not even discussing auto insurance.
Oh my gracious!
There's a big hubbub this week about how much we pay in auto insurance. So. No state income tax, though, in Texas.
Okay, so that's a balancer. Plus, I got to tell you, looking at what I can get on our budget of what we were budgeting for up here, I couldn't believe. I mean, the house prices down in that neck of the woods are extremely reasonable. Holy Moses.
They really are until you get close to Houston, and then they're like California-style prices from Houston to Austin to San Antonio. But
that's us here.
I really don't want to brag too much on the wrong side of Texas, but it's a great place to fish and hunt and raise a family. We're so close to Louisiana, and there's just millions and millions of miles of marsh land and bays, estuaries. So we stay very busy.
Sabine River down there, man.
Yeah, there's
legendary.
It's funny. If you're from the Texas side, you say Sabine. If you're from the Louisiana side, you call it the Sabine. So,
nice.
You have to flip flop when you cross the river how you pronounce it. Try to blend in as much as possible.
Right. I still, I say words all kinds of jacked up. I'm kind of a mutt. I've been around all over the place, so I just pick up little pieces of accents from all over the place, and that keeps people guessing. You guys haven't dealing with you got a little bit of cold, but no snow or anything down there, right? Do you guys ever get snow?
Man, we had a snow last year that was one for the ages. I think it was 8 or 10 inches of snow. I mean,
wow.
It was really, and it was that really good mountain snow. Normally what we get is sleet and ice layers, and we call it snow, but this was actually like straight up dry, powdery snow. You had to give it a day to actually be able to form balls with it.
Oh, wow. Really dry then.
It was really quite an anomaly for us to have such dry snowfall and then have as much. But that happens, maybe once every 7-8 years. Wow. You get a little bit of snow. A snow like that, man, that's a once in a lifetime snow.
Yeah.
So,
I remember when we saw a little bit of the rain starting to freeze up when I lived in Florida, and I mean, I thought the whole world was coming down. There was, we got, those little like ice pellet, type rain that you get, that tick, 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 tick stuff.
Right.
We got some of that when I was like in 3rd, 4th grade, living down in like central Florida, Live Oak area. And we got one of those days of that, and it was just like, what is happening right now? People freak out, man. That's a different thing.
Yeah, basically down here, if we get any kind of ice or snow, we just call it a weather day. We're not prepared for any of that stuff. So it's Texas. Give it about 30 minutes. The weather's liable to change. A day, everything melts, and we go back to normal.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. You go from snow to flip flops in 1 week. There's no real season here. It happens all in one day or a couple of days. So
I can feel a lot of that, for coming from Colorado. Our sun like tries to kill you out here. So, we get a big blizzard or whatever, and the next day, if it goes to 40 degrees with our sun, that snow is damn near all gone, right? It just gets
right.
melted so quickly up here. Our atmosphere is so much thinner. The rays are very potent. So yeah, it wipes it out. They always say that. Wait 30 minutes, it'll change. Well, listen, man, I appreciate you coming on the show here and chopping it up here. Let's get right to it. Let's talk about you, what you did like pre-how, and then what brought you to how. Two heroes on the water. What'd you do for a career, dude? Before you were up here, saving lives.
I guess my background is in education.
Oh, nice.
I spent a number of years teaching fine art and photography, art history. I have a master's of fine art from the University of Houston. Hung around,
Wow.
taught school. I've always enjoyed sharing my passion, talking about it. Photography, I was kind of raised around it. My dad was a shutterbug. My first job for him was putting the weights on the corners of the pictures so that he could make copies of old photographs, and then we would restore them back with pen and ink and razor blades and fine art brushes, kind of trying to rebuild some of the family history, and just generally got interested in photography and history, and just went from there.
Dude,
Decided to go to school.
I love you, but when you said education, I'm like PE teacher. That's Joe. Guaranteed PE teacher.
You have never seen me run. That's a fact. Yeah, no,
That's
definitely
awesome.
not the PE teacher. They did let me substitute long-term teaching for English for a little while. So
That is
yeah,
so cool.
yeah, that was really what I thought I was supposed to do. I went to school for it and began to teach, and absolutely enjoyed my students. If any of them happen along this, those are some of my favorite years of my life. Just introducing people to the wet darkroom process is like, I didn't even look at the pictures as they were developing. I was watching people's faces because
Right?
the oh wow factor. If you've ever been in a dark room and seen a print come up out of the developer, it's amazing. And just to see people get to practice that and get better at it and understand the craft behind it is a great journey.
Sharing your passion and seeing what it does for others, it almost transcends the topic, right? 20 years I coached sports from fourth grade to seniors in high school. The latter part of my career was the paid portion of coaching that I had, at a high school. And all I can remember from those, the greatest moments were the interactions I had with those athletes, those boys,
Yeah.
and building those relationships, seeing them once they get a technique down or once they get that bit of success, of working hard. And when you see them totally grab onto, so yeah, it goes across the topics, sharing something you love doing, and now we do it with fishing and kayaking and such. I mean, that's a powerful deal to educate and share that.
It really is. When I first started the idea of a therapeutic program, hopefully we're not jumping too far ahead, but
No.
I came to it with that educational style background. There was a program at Brooke Army Medical Center at the time. It was an adaptive golf school, and it was 10 weeks long. And I was like, hey, I'm going to borrow that schedule of 10 weeks, treat it like it's a college course in kayak fishing, and we're going to start from zero. This is fishing line. We don't call it string, it's fishing line. And these are, 2 or 3 basic knots, and we're going to practice that. And then we're going to advance to paddling techniques, proper posture in the boat. Then we're going to get in the boat. Then we're going to do, advanced things like deep water reentry, self-rescue techniques, things like that. So I molded the original therapeutic program into being kind of a mini college course. outdoors. And that's
So cool.
just who I was, and the thing I was bringing to the table. And the rec therapist we worked with at that time, the Center for the Intrepid, Heather Gardner, she was like, absolutely, this is exactly what we want. And it really became the model for all of the therapeutic programs. We don't stick to that 10-week course the way that we once did, because our patient load is very different than it was back in 2009, 2010. So we make it an approachable entry level experience every time anyone comes out. But you do have, and you know this, you've got that reoccurring group where it's like, hey, you guys don't have to listen to my safety brief. If you want to help out, go put life jackets in every boat and get them ready to, prepare for the person to be properly fitted.
Love it. Yeah, man, that's that bringing you to that, and for you to take your experience previously and interject that into, it's now created a whole new division with inside of Heroes on the Water. For those of you unaware, I mean, Heroes on the Water has been at the leading edge of, the cutting edge of showing and demonstrating the health benefits that come from getting outdoors, engaging in paddling on the water. Paddlefish heal. I mean, these things here, we always knew fishing was there, but when you take fishing on top of, and now you add in kayaking to it, it goes to another level. It adds even more complexity and more positive results. And no one's done more research in that area than how. Was it Texas A&M, I believe, is who they partnered with?
Texas State University.
Texas State University.
Yeah, we're very blessed to have Dr. Shelby Sharp, that is our research coordinator, and help us put together. Officially, it's known as a quality of life survey.
Yeah.
And we call ours Operation Early Impact, and all of the numbers are on the website. And it is a voluntary survey that people take after they have participated in the event, and just basically, like, how does being on the water change your mindset? How does it give you strength after the experience? There's stress reduction that happens in the outdoors that you really can't get inside. I mean,
agreed.
There's something different about walking a mile in the woods versus walking a mile down a city street.
Isn't that the truth?
I mean, yes, you're walking and your body's burning the similar kinds of calories, but your mind is healing much more so from being in the woods than it is being on a city street.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's Mother Nature, she has this ability, and wherever your faith may lie in the big scheme of things, the facts are what the facts are, and that is, number one, we are creatures of this earth. We're animals on our best day, so we try like hell to get away from it as much as we can with more technology and more thises and more that's, and convenience, it seems to drive us. So the moment you get back to pulling some of that away and you can engage with what Mother Nature has to offer, there's a settling factor that happens. I've read some stuff on guys talking about grounding yourself. And one of the things that has been mentioned in several of them is take your shoes off, go outside, and let your feet touch the ground, the grass or whatever, for at least 15 minutes a day. And apparently they claim there's some sort of energy transference that occurs between you and the earth, type thing. And I'm like, wow, okay, that's interesting, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that. But
well, I'm game for it. My wife's gonna want to know what I'm doing out there barefooted in the cold backyard, but I'm gonna tell her I'm getting grounded and see what she has to say about it.
Heck yeah. Just trying to be a better version for you, babe. That's all.
I'd rather try that than the old plunge bath thing. That's not for me.
No, or me. I'm with you there, dude. I completely. So you get involved. How did that transition happen from your previous career to Heroes on the Water? Were you volunteering with HOW, or what made that connection for you with HOW?
I am part of the original group of volunteers. I think originally there might have been a dozen or so folks. In 2007, we were hanging out on TexasKayakFisherman.com. And it was one of just a couple of actual dedicated forums. It was old school, right? You had to have a third party photo bucket to host. If you didn't know how to program HTML, then you didn't get the inside jokes on how to make emojis and
right.
you know, I mean, you really had to have kind of a little bit of HTML programming in the original version of that forum. And one of our friends who was on there was he was in the hospital at Joint Base San Antonio, Brooke Army Medical Center in San Antonio. And he was like, hey, do any of you guys have extra kayaks? Could you come out and take some of these guys that are in the hospital and they're here long term, right? They've been here for a while. They're bored. And I raised my hand as fast as I could. So in 2007, I was in the process of moving from Houston to Central Texas, the Austin, New Braunfels area. And so it's just up the road from San Antonio. And I was like, you know, all good kayakers have more than one kayak, you know, and you're like, have to justify like, look, babe, see, I need to loan my kayak out to these guys. This is why I'm hanging on to it, you know?
Right.
And so one thing led to another, and it wound up being New Year's Day, 2008, and went to a little place called Blanco State Park, and halfway between Austin and San Antonio. And my job that day was to make sure that the PFDs were properly fitted before we sent the participants out on the water. And it just so happened that we had recently received a grant from Parks and Wildlife to start what would become Heroes on the Water. And everything is brand spanking new. The kayaks are still in plastic. The little pamphlets on the PFDs that the Coast Guard make you have that are kind of cartoonish, those are hanging off the side. And so as I fit them properly with their PFD, I grabbed that little, you know, keeper and tear it off and shove them in my pocket. And it was cold. It was January in Texas. So I had a jacket on that had a bunch of pockets and pockets of my pants, and I came home with every pocket stuffed full of that little pamphlet, you know, and speaking 100 a mile a minute to my wife, and she was just, because I'd left her with a house full of boxes, mind you.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, we had been in New Braunfels less than 5 days, and so we were still unpacking that kind of stuff. And I was like, hey, I got to go fish with these guys from, you know, Brooke Army Medical Center. She's like, whatever, you know. And she was used to me running off with the boys fishing at that point. And so came home, realized what an impact that experience had on me. Yeah. And so I think from that point forward, I volunteered as much as I could. And when things were close to me, I was always there, grew very close with Jim Dolan, and Jim and I would put together events. We had a few other volunteers there around San Antonio that would help us get the word out and work with some of these rec therapists.
And Jim Dolan is the founder of Heroes on the Water, correct?
Jim is recognized as our founder because his nickname was Double Dip. So he had to work extra hard at making these things happen. And he had time off. He was a pilot for American Airline. And so he went through the whole process of establishing the 501(c) and getting the lawyers and the right paperwork. And after he passed away, we went to clean out his storage locker, and there was the book. It's the yellow and black, How to Start a Nonprofit for Dummies.
Wow.
And, yeah. I mean, we don't have a brick and mortar front office or anything, but one day this book needs to be enshrined in the Heroes on the Water Hall of Fame, because that was Jim's guide source to getting this thing going and making it happen. So
So
I've
cool.
I volunteered straight through 8, 9, and I was teaching actually back here in Beaumont in the fall of 2010. And the rec therapist Heather Gardner and Jim call me. I'm giving final exams, and I've dodged their phone call a couple of different times. And they're like, "Hey, man, how long are you staying in Beaumont? How long are you going to teach over there?" I said, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to do what I've been trained to do, right? They're like, well, we want you to run the program, the BAMC program in the spring. I'm like, okay. And so that's when I said, all right, well, I'll do this. And set it up, wrote a little curriculum out, made it so that we could start engaging these folks as early in the year as possible, which I tried to start it around Valentine's Day that year. And that's about 3 weeks too early for Central Texas weather.
Gotcha.
Just a tad bit early, but we were on the water March and fished through the end of October.
Wow.
And I knew, I still had a private practice in family photography, and it was scattered between Houston and Beaumont and Dallas and Austin. And I could travel all over the state of Texas, but at 8:00 on Thursday morning, I knew exactly where I was going to be.
Right.
That was kayak fishing ready, standing on the side of the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels, Texas.
So cool, man.
Had to plan accordingly for any of my other adventures. And then I guess fast forward to like continued volunteering, moved around, and then I think it's 2017. I decided that I'd had enough of Houston once and for all, and then we moved to Beaumont, and there was a position open on the staff just as a volunteer coordinator to kind of do what I'd already been doing, mentoring young people wanting to get involved and volunteer with us. And so officially came on staff, I think that was May of 2017, but I've been here since the beginning.
Right.
It's kind of neat to be able to say that because I think there's just a handful of people left that can say they've been part of this thing since the inception. So,
dude, the 501c3 landscape is such a needed entity in this country, especially in the spaces that we operate in. But make no mistake, the toll it takes is a heavy one. It's for the people that are running it, for the people that, are behind the scenes. It's no joke, man. It pours every ounce. My wife and I joke about this, and bear with me real quick. So a few years ago, I retired from coaching completely because I tried 1 year. I tried to chase my dream, which was trying to make a living catching fish and keep my paying job as a coach and such. And I realized I couldn't do them both at the same time. That time of year is just too critical for both things that I was trying to do. And so I felt like I was splitting, my attention, which just wasn't fair. So I made the choice after almost 20 years in coaching to retire from that and make this a run, right? Go try to do it. We get out to Colorado, fast forward a little bit, and I'm looking around the job market. You'd think a guy with a master's degree and 20 years experience in a field wouldn't have that hard of a time finding a job. Come out here and try it. It was just like the most ego killing maneuver. So my wife tells me, well, why don't you go make a run at this? See if you can make a living chasing fish. So there I was, a guy I had the opportunity of a lifetime. I have an extremely successful, smart wife who gave me the meal ticket and said, go see if you can do it. We'll be all right. Fast forward a little bit, I own a nonprofit, and I can tell you to date of all the things I've done, I've never worked as much, as hard, as long as I do for no pay than I do in the nonprofit world. And there's some days, so for you, dude, to still be standing and still be in here serving those that serve, that's a huge deal. I know I've learned so much from your experience and just talking to you and spending time with you. You've taught me a tremendous amount. Heroes on the Water has taught me a tremendous amount. Here's the one thing that I will say that no one can ever take this. This is the armor that Howe has, that you, the way you guys lead by example. When you and I were first talking, Joe, and I said, hey, I own this little nonprofit. Is that going to be a problem? I kind of do what Howe does, except on a smaller level and maybe a little bit different. We aim for, the gearheads, the techies, that want to really rig out and such. If you're paddling with TPO, something bad happened. You know what I mean? we got motors on our kayaks, dude. So it's different, but in the same realm. And what you told me was, dude, it's one mission. We're all in this. So as long as you treat Howe with respect and loyalty to it, then we got you anyway, and you guys did. You guys are now like, and will forever be the big brother that my little organization will always look up to and always represent proudly out there when we're done. That one mission approach, you guys show the fact that, yeah, this isn't a competition, dude. We're here to help people. And as long as we learn how to play nice on the same playground, we can all be, go out there and help more people. Has that always been, or is that just kind of your demeanor? Is that, something you bring to it, or is that a philosophy that's been with Hal from day one?
Man, it is so hard to separate what is mine and what is Hal. I've been at it for so long, I got to really spend a lot of time in 2009 and 10, 11, 12, sitting with combat wounded folks in the river, listening. And I'm a talker. I mean, shit, we can make this thing go 3 hours if we want to. But there was a time and a place for me to shut my mouth and listen and understand experiences that I personally never will have, could have. It wasn't in the cards for me to serve. So it was an opportunity for me to serve at home. And in those years, man, they had baking with heroes in hot rods, heroes in golf, there was in San Antonio, military USA, right? There was a heroes for everything, there, you name it, whatever your hobby was, whatever your passion, there was someone reaching out in those days to make it happen. All the guys had crazy jacked up trucks with performance exhaust on them because they had a free garage. There was a guy that had a garage for active duty folks, and you could just buy the parts and go over there and he'd help you fix up your truck and whatever, So I think as I saw some of those organizations, kayak fishing may not be for everybody, but that if they wanted to come outside and be with us and give kayaking or fishing a try, then they were as welcome as anyone was. And I don't believe I really ever saw the competition between different nonprofits. In my experience, when I've had conversations, and I've got some close friends that work at the other big heroes, the big nonprofit fishing organization out there, and we all just it's one tribe, one fight.
Yep.
And I think we've also worked really well with each other over the years. Like, hey, we don't have a chapter in your area. Do you have a chapter that might be of service to this individual or this family? And so I think it's a philosophy now, just because it's very important that we leave no one behind. There's too much that we can do. Simple camaraderie, just pick up the phone. I liked what you said about the holidays. Man, you put my phone number down there too. I've done it before. I've left here on Christmas Eve and told my wife that I had to go get a young man out of a coffee shop in Houston. And she was like, be careful. But she knew what it meant. She knew how important that was. And so it starts on the water. It continues off the water. I've been friends with a lot of those guys that I met back in the original Heroes in the Water founding days. I've watched them have kids, go on, be productive, and hopefully their experience with Heroes on the Water and being outside, I think is the most important thing, helped them in that healing journey. And so, yeah, I mean, my phone is always on and always available to anybody at any point in their path, and we can talk fishing all day.
Like you said, being on the water, but it's also, there's something else there too, and that is being around the right people when you're outside. Right. And that's when you have the people that how is comprised of, it's a positive environment. It's an environment of, kitty gloves if we need them, tough love if it's warranted, and the bottom line is we're always here. Right. And that's the thing I've learned, being a part of How, is that there is a network of support here for any and everything, that is needed if the need arises. And that's a powerful deal, man, when you get that many different minds all together, all rowing the boat in the same direction, man. And that's exactly what Heroes on the Water is pushing forward. The Denver VA Therapeutic Division. That's how you and I talked for several months, got it put together, and next thing you know, boom, I'm out there with our man, Paul, and he is a wild man, Mr. Paul Martin. He drives, brings up the trailer, brings up the kayaks, brings all the gear, says, here you are, now we're going out. Paul and I hit it off. He goes about 300 mile an hour when he goes about the stuff, but I love the way he handles the stuff. I learned quickly how to lock in with him and pick out the PC parts that I need out of the conversation to get rolling. And we got off the ground here working with the Denver VA with their outpatient services a couple of years ago. So it was last year is when we started it. 2024. And we searched around. The one thing we have out here in Colorado that's a big challenge is our water. Most of our public waters are just flat out overrun with people. There's a safety factor involved. And so trying to find paddle friendly areas where we can take some folks most of the folks we take out, this is kind of their first time in a kayak, and sometimes, a lot of them, some of them have some fishing background, but not a whole lot. So we want it to be a good environment. We started down south, Chatfield Res. They have a little gravel pond, just south, and we started down there. I, in the meantime, was working out a deal with my little nonprofit with this lake up in Westminster, kind of central western side of the metro, that is no boats allowed, is only paddlecraft only, and it, come lo and behold, happens to be some darn good fishing in there. And so next thing you know, we get a chance to get How up there. Now we've got How Heroes on the Water, is included in that deal with me, up there at Stanley Lake. And the people love it, dude. It is, we've got really a gem of a situation there where we can take folks down there. They get right by the, if they don't feel like paddling too much, they can come back to shore and hang out. It's just been a really, really cool experience over the time. How hard was it to expand? Because the first one was in San Antonio, right? Therapeutic. How hard was it to expand? Because we've got Therapeutic up in Iowa, if memory serves. Where are we at right now with that?
So we have 10 therapeutic programs, and they are mostly, I guess, right down the Midwest, minus our friends in Lyons, New Jersey, over at the VA there in New Jersey. We also have Fort Belvoir SRU program there on the East Coast. And then I guess the expansion is been organic, right? You got to find a place where there's some water. You got to find someone that's willing to take that high dollar paycheck and go fish. and most importantly, you got to find somebody that's going to show up every Thursday at 8 o'clock or
Isn't that the
whatever,
key?
you know, whatever day you and the therapist work out. And you got to just, there's a sacrifice that has to be made because, there's Thursday mornings where, man, I really didn't sleep well. I didn't plan ahead. I got to run to the grocery store and get more bottles of water. I mean, uh, so it becomes a commitment on the part of that instructor to make it happen. And so we, we've been very blessed, I think, to have the 10 programs. It really wasn't until 2020, late in 2020, that the board grew. And so and so be he'll be the director of therapeutic programs, and we're going to take your number one and make them the director of volunteer programs. So we split Heroes on the Water into two different sets of programs there, the volunteers and the therapeutic. And so since 2020, I've been able to grow it, a couple of chapters each year. And it's absolutely amazing. And I would like to have, I could throw some big lofty goal out there where I see it in 2030, but we're here expanding. If anybody's listening to this and there's, a rec therapist that are in charge of a group of veterans or active duty, we work with both. We'd love to talk,
Yep.
so
Well, and right now in Colorado, we have ours in the Denver VA. We also just last year, proud to announce, we opened our southern chapter as well. So now we have our second therapeutic program here in the state that's running out of Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
Yep, in Pueblo. That's by none other than my brother, Mr. Justin Bricklin, down there, U.S. Air Force retired. He is the coordinator down there for that program. He's got a great relationship with that rec therapist down there as well. So that program started off and is doing really, really well. And we're actually eyeballing heading north as well. That's another, we think the need is sitting north of us as well. And so that could be something that, that we could go into. And you gave me a piece of advice when we first got into this. And
Oh gosh.
yeah. And it was a good one this
boy.
time.
Okay,
it was a good one this time.
Man.
Yeah. Had nothing to do with doctor recommendation or anything like that. No, you told me no matter what, from the moment you get in, always be looking for your replacement. Because of that very fact, like you said, we don't know what life throws at us, and the bandwidth that's needed to make this come together, it's so important that it doesn't stop. That we need to know. And so that's exactly how I found Justin after he retired from the Air Force, and I could see that he was looking, he was out, looking for a job, and he still looks like he's in his 20s. I don't care what Brick says. It's like whatever, 40, I don't buy that. I'm over here aging like milk, dude. I don't know what he's doing, but it's a lot better than I'm doing. But no, so when I saw him, I'm like, now that's a guy, if he were up here, I would have no problem sending my wife out, with him. I'd feel safe. So that's a guy I want. Just it worked out that we had the need down south. And so that had to be a lesson hard learned. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still looking for my replacement. Yeah, no, it is one of and where the root of that idea comes from is once we start establish practice in a community, it's bigger than any one person. I want to make sure that, but now, Gene's moved on, and we're not going to be able to facilitate this. Good luck with the next group.
Yeah.
Really want to make sure that the therapist, the patients, the people can rely on us to provide positive programming to assist them in helping others in their healing journey.
Right. Yeah, it's key, man, because it's a lot more than, like you said, it's not about pay, it's not about the kayaks, it's a lot more. There are people that count on this. They may be returning and just going through the motions when they show up, but I've seen it firsthand. We had one situation show up, on weather, and it caused some problems for a few of the folks. They were that invested in wanting to be there and get involved for that day, type thing. And so it's really, it's a much bigger purpose on that, much bigger reasoning behind it. I love it. I absolutely believe it. Like I said, there's two ways you get rid of me. One is an accident. Two is you fire me. Pretty much I'm in this thing. I bleed how now through and through. Love the organization and what we do out here. I wanted to share real quick. We got some pictures here from the last couple of years. I have a lot more than this, but these are just the ones I thought that would be most impactful. So let's get this up on the screen here. This is my man, Gerald here. Gerald is, as you can tell, an accomplished fisherman. This was his first time out at Stanley Lake, but he from Chatfield to Stanley Lake, didn't matter where we went, he's catching fish out there. And what's so awesome is that Gerald's not a young man. And see him get in that kayak with all his gear and get out there, paddle his way out and get on fish. It's extremely rewarding to see him. Plus, we've not had a single participant ask more good fishing questions. Gerald and I've shown him how to do a drop shot rig and a few other things. It's been phenomenal sharing info with him. This was at Chatfield. This is our fleet sitting out on the beach getting ready to go. That's the one thing I will say. We have up to 14 kayaks that we can do, and most times it's just me getting these things out of the trailer. It is a fantastic workout to get. Previously it was Fat Gene back in these days. Now I'm a lot skinnier Gene, so it's not as hard these days. Just the joy, the look on the faces when they get a chance to get out here in the water. This was I hadn't shoved her off from shoreline just yet. We were getting ready to. Had to wait for old Fast Eddie there behind her to clear, so I didn't run them into each other. And, one of the things I love about some of these photos you see is that they're in jeans and a T-shirt. As much as we let them know that you are going to get a little wet, it's kayak fishing, so it's possible. Some of them, if this is how they want to come out and enjoy their day with a fishing rod, then perfect, do it. We're good to go. As long as you got that PFD on, you are set and good to go. And it doesn't take Fast Eddie long before he is standing up in these Diablos and paddling.
Awesome.
Yeah, he is an Energizer bunny. I hope I'm in half the shape that dude's in when I get to his age. It's crazy.
Very cool.
Gerald found, I think the one largemouth bass in that gravel pond. He found it that day and got it hooked up. See, look at them fat cheeks on Gene right there. That was back in Fat Gene days.
Yeah.
No, this was a great day out here. As you can see the people behind us, though, it starts to get busy there at about 9 a.m. And so we were usually half a day, and we tried to skedaddle out of there because the parking lot literally closed down just because it was at capacity. It was our population out here is just nuts. But seeing these folks getting a chance to get out there on the water. Now I think we've moved into the Stanley Lake ones here. Just seeing them get a chance to get out there and enjoy. Stanley's a lot more open, a lot less crowded. Here is the beginning. So last year we had the opportunity to work with a special unit out of the VA, the visually impaired group. And this was one of the most life-changing for me experiences to be the coordinator on this. And what you are witnessing right here, the man that's attempting to stand up on that paddleboard there is 90% blind. He can only see about 2-3 inches in front of him, and it's all blurry. And this was something he wanted to do. Now, on this event, they brought staff members from the VIP unit in there to be with each one of these folks. So for every patient we had that was visually impaired, we had a staff member with them out there in the kayaks. And because of the house inventory and because of the size, we were able to get 7 people out there for 14 total boats. This guy wanted to stand. This was his deal. He wanted to stand. And this young man got himself standing up. Those are 2 staff members, holding the sides of the paddleboard. He did this 100%. And when those hands went up, you heard across this lake, "This is freaking amazing." And you see the laughter from the staff member on the left because he was so elated. So he did not want to come down, Joe. He did not want to get off of this board. He stayed up there and stayed up there and just experiencing this for the first time.
Yeah, that's cool.
And
that
he just,
so cool.
I don't think there was a dry eye on the shore. We were all just so taken by this and the genuine joy that this was giving him to be able to get out there and do this and to, this to all be made possible through the HOW program and the Denver VA's, staff.
Man, that is
super
really neat.
super powerful. Now, and also, we did it again this year, which was amazing. I love these guys. The staff members took it one step further. In each one of their boats, they keep, one of the main staff individuals keeps this little device that sends out a beep. It sounds almost like a fire alarm chirp, like a smoke alarm chirp.
Okay.
And what it's for is so that when the folks get out there on the water, they have a general idea of where the staff member's at on the water. So they can paddle kind of and stay somewhat close to each other so they don't get out there, and you can't get lost on this lake. It's just a big bowl, right? It's a big wide open. But this gives them a chance to follow along and they can tell how close they are. Yeah, it was a super cool deal.
Very cool.
The staff members here, from participants, what you see in the back is that young man and his mother are volunteers for us. They come out, that young man and his mother help me unload all the kayaks and get them prepped up and ready. Then they help at the end of the day. And so to see him, at 12, 13 years old, seeing, giving his time and effort like this to help create a day like this that was so impactful is always fun. Yeah, the chance they get to get out there and just, this was one of the other things that was said. There's our fleet standing by, ready to go. It's the relationships too, man. The relationships we build together with the staff members, with the vets that come out there, hearing their stories, and just sitting around the picnic table, chopping it up, and spending time on the water together. It truly is, that paddlefish heel that occurs out there. One of the most probably meaningful that I never was even thinking about testaments that was given to me was from one of the visually impaired. This guy was probably 80%. He comes up to me. Big Jim is his name, Army vet. Well, Big Jim comes up to me, puts his arm around me because he could see me in my red HOW shirt because I was a red blob to him, basically, is what he said. I'm like, that's all right. Even people with perfect vision call me a red blob, so it's okay. He comes up and he says, "Dude, I want to tell you something." He said, "I can't thank you guys enough for today's experience." I said, "Well, of course, man. It's our pleasure and our honor." And he says, No. He says, it goes a little bit further than just kayaking. He says, when I'm on the land, I got people around me helping me navigate stuff like don't go here, watch here. You got a curb here. There's a stump there. He says, today when I got out in that kayak, nobody said anything. And he said, I went where I wanted to go. He says, that freedom you just gave me is something I haven't experienced in years. He said, and brother, he says, I can't tell you what that means to me. And I'm sitting over there. I'm like, whatever, Jim, it's sand in my eyes. It's nothing else, I I never even thought of that, Joe. That was just, we take things for granted, I think, as, folks out there. And I just never thought of that aspect. But that freedom of being on the water and being able to paddle where you want to go, man, it's little things like that that just concrete that resolved. Like, yep, like you said, there were several of those mornings I'm like, man, 14 kayaks I got to unload today. Whoo, we're feeling a little sore. This is the third event this week,
Right.
But at the end of the day, man, when you're making contact with people like that and the impact you're giving, it's the motivator. We're there. I mean, that's what we signed up to do is to serve. And so we're going to do it on days we want to and days we don't want to. We're still going to get her done.
There it is, right? You talk about that independence. I think that's something that is unique to the kayak fishing, and I noticed it early on. A lot of the guys that I was helping back in 2010, they were injured in combat. They woke up in a hospital.
Damn.
And somebody has been telling them from the time that they left the theater of war what to do, where to go, how to do it. You got to be at this appointment, that appointment. And then you put them out on the water in a kayak and you say, hey, don't go past point A and point B over there. If you get in trouble, there's a whistle on your PFD, and go enjoy your morning. And that sense of independence for them, for many folks, it's the first time they've had that. And I think it works out really well for, your big Jim story there about, people always helping them navigate, and then just, here, I brought you to this safe place.
Yep.
Worst thing is you're going to get wet. So go exercise your independence, make the most of it.
It's huge, man. It transcends, all other areas. And you said it best there. It's something unique to the kayak fishing side of it. There's a lot of benefits that come from many things there, but kayak fishing has a unique set of environmentals, the variables that it provides, and that's it's so important. Well, good stuff, man. What's on the horizon for Hal right now? Therapeutic division. We just, like you said, organically growing. What are the goals for 2026?
We're trying to put a few more programs in place. You mentioned we're kind of looking north there of the Denver area. We've also got some possibilities in Kansas, and one of these days I'm going to get this West Texas chapter off and running. It's just going where people are willing to have us and let us be part of their other programs, other therapies. 26, I think we're going to see continued growth. There's some consolidation going on with the Army SRU units. So they're reducing some of those down, and I'm hopeful that we will be able to participate in all of the SRUs now that there's a little more centralized participation there. And there's 117 major VA medical installations, I think, out there. So it's like 8 down and 100 and something more to go, right? I mean, all
right.
As long as they let me continue to make phone calls and, say, hey, I have a free kayak fishing program. Are you interested? And then I go try to find folks like yourself and Justin, that tends to be one of the hurdles of program development, So again, if anybody's listening, it's like, hey, I've got a water by my VA and I'm free on Thursday mornings, and I know the rec therapist, hit me up. I mean, I'm always interested in where we can move Heroes on the Water and expand our mission. And it never hurts to try. So
yeah. Dude,
I'm excited.
it's worth it. The people are out there that need it. The need is there. We know it. We know it works. We've seen it firsthand, time and time and time again. And so yeah, hell of a lot better alternative than to a bag of opioids. I'll tell you that.
I mean, we don't even have to go down there. I think the whole audience can completely agree, man. Give me 30 minutes outside and keep your pills to yourself. Right?
Yep. Agreed.
And so.
Awesome. Well, listen, brother, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and chopping this up for us. And folks, like you said, if you're out there and you think you might be able to help with this, or you want to volunteer with Heroes on the Water, hit up Joe, hit up myself. We'll be putting the links in on YouTube there. We'll be having a lot of that stuff, listed out. But you know where to get a hold of us here on the Double S. Just hit me up. I'll get you in touch with him. And the opportunities are always out there, and we're always looking to see where we can bring more healing to more of our brothers and sisters out there for sure, man. But thank you so very much, dude, for taking the time out of your schedule. One of these days, I'm gonna get down to your neck of the woods, and you're gonna have to show me some of them waters down there. That's gonna be fun. That'll be a good reason for me to head south.
Gene, man, you're always welcome. And thanks for. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for getting the message out there. The camaraderie and the services that you provide are amazing, and it's really great to work with you. And I'm proud of what's happened there in Denver and what you've been able to accomplish, and look forward to how that's going to move.
Looking just
into the future.
I was going to say we're looking forward to make it bigger and better, and just keep getting stronger and stronger while we're out here, man.
Perfect, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Brother Joe. Hang around for me after I roll this thing out, and I'll wrap it up with you here.
Outstanding. Take care.
All right. All right, folks, that's going to do it for another edition of the Double S Podcast, this special edition here. You know the routine. Make sure to smash that subscribe button for us. We're not on the other social media platforms anymore, but we are at YouTube. That's a big one for us. So make sure to hit that subscribe button, share this out. And dude, Heroes on the Water, go look them up. You can't miss them. HeroesOnTheWater.org. Check out those areas there, and check out the therapeutic division. Check out the volunteer programs that they have. They're making a difference, making a positive impact in local communities across this entire country. So make sure if you got ways you think you can support the Heroes on the Water programs, absolutely do, man. That's one of those that is for sure been on the vetted pathway, and it's one of those that that it's going to healing people out there. All right, folks, this is going to do it for us. Don't know, but I'm thinking we'll have one live episode before Christmas coming up here. We've got maybe 2 live episodes before Christmas. Other than that, there's going to be a few of these recordings here. Leave a comment for us down here. If you got a comment, a question, something like that, definitely throw it down below here. We will respond to it. We'll come back around after this airs, and we'll check those. And if you got stuff for Joe you want to ask, throw it down there. I'll make sure he sees it. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Make sure to hit the subscribe. Tight lines. Be safe. We're going to add one today. Take care of each other, and God bless you.